To the Thrive Together talks from or powered by Kick Cancer movement. This is our special guest interview or Q&A with Emily Oberst. Just wanted to go over a few things before we get started. Is that one, this will be recorded and actually posted to our YouTube channel called Kick Cancer Movement as is. So feel free to keep your camera on, ask questions, and you can either put those in the chat or unmute yourself. So let me go over some information really quick that is just super important, and I think that you need to know as far as Emily. She was actually diagnosed with bone cancer in high school with Ewing sarcoma. She had cancer in her left leg that forced a surgery to occur to replace her fibula as her tibia. And because of her inability to maintain physical strength for an extended period of time, she switched to wheelchair basketball. So imagine being in high school, being an athlete and doing what you dreamed, and then just twisting it around and going, okay, this is where I'm going to go now. This is what I can do. She was actually recruited to play for the University of Alabama at the age of 17, which is incredible. So since then, it's been a decade and a whirlwind of a lot of things. And I'm going to give her a second to talk about that in just a minute. But some other hobbies also include wakeboarding. What? Okay. Wakeboarding, skiing, golfing, cooking, and watching The Bachelor. So let's not leave that out.
My guilty pleasure is reality TV.
Yes. So it has definitely been a decade since ringing the bell, and so much has happened in your life since that moment. An incredibly inspiring journey. And so I just wanted you to take a moment to kind of go over some of your accomplishments since then.
Yeah. So my life just completely turned upside down. So I was diagnosed at the beginning of my eighth grade year, but my cancer treatment went into high school for freshman year. So I was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma bone cancer. And it came from feeling a pain on my left shin that I just thought was from actually playing AAU basketball, able body basketball, and completely turned my life upside down. Went through chemotherapy treatments and invasive surgery that you discussed, and then luckily was able to ring the bell my freshman year. And after ringing the bell, I just didn't really know what my life was going to look like after then. This new normal, this new physical disability where I could no longer run or walk, or I could walk but no longer run or jump. So figuring that out, navigating it, and wheelchair basketball is what changed that and made me embrace my differences. And I started to excel at it. And I was recruited to play at the University of Alabama. My freshman year, we won a national championship, which was amazing. But then I did transfer to the University of Illinois for 3 years as the coach of University of Illinois was also our Team USA coach. So she's a rock star, one of the biggest mentors in my life, succeeded there. And then lucky enough, I was able to try out for Team USA. So I competed all over the world. And this past summer, or 2 summers ago, Paris was 2024, we won a silver medal. So came out second in the world. I think that's my biggest accomplishment, but there's so much to discuss between all of those years and how we even got to that and celebrating that silver medal. So I'm excited to dive into it today.
And may we please see that gold,
Oh,
silver
yes,
medal,
I
please.
have it right
Look at
here.
that. There it is. Not many people have one of those. That's
Yeah, and this
beautiful.
is the bottom of the Eiffel Tower. If you look up to it,
Yes.
it's
Wow.
yeah, it's heavy. If we ever meet in person, I will bring it and you guys can feel it's
Well,
lift some weights with it.
why don't you just win one in LA at the next Olympics and then
That's the
we'll have to look
plan.
at that one.
Yep, we can all
Okay.
meet there and we can all celebrate with the gold medal this time.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would absolutely say that in my eyes, you are absolutely a hero in our community and inspiring and inspiring other young childhood cancer warriors. So I just want to say thank you for the bottom of my heart and for coming on tonight. As a fellow cancer mama, um, just wanting to say thank you.
Yes.
As parents, we always reflect on the before cancer and after cancer and what that may look like, right? What our wishes and dreams were for our kids and everything else. But can you share a bit about your childhood cancer experience and how it shaped the person you are today?
Mm. Yeah, I like to say prior to my diagnosis, my biggest worry in the world was finding a date to the school dance and convincing my parents I needed a cell phone. And that was my to-do list, and that's all I cared about at the time. And just be hearing that you have cancer and being dove into this crazy, scary treatment plan within a month of that diagnosis, and it just really changes your perspective in life and not knowing whether you're going to make it or not, unfortunately. That's where we're at with the medical side of things. It just really changes your values and your morals. And I don't take anything for granted anymore. And, there's good days and bad days. I like to preach that that's the case 24/7, but it's not always easy to have that outlook. But yeah, it's completely changed my life. And I'm very lucky to be here and be able to say that because unfortunately, there's so many warriors that their life is taken from this awful, terrible disease. And that is always a little bit in the back of my brain, just reminding myself, like, hey, this sucks. This happened to me. But at the same time, I'm here and I have to find a way to live with it and try and spin it in a positive way. So that's my goal.
Yeah, it's a perspective I wish my child didn't have to have, but in a
Mhm.
way, I'm glad that she has that outlook,
Mhm.
of the at least,
Mhm.
she'll continue to check up on childhood cancer kids and be like, is so and so still here? Or how is, Jake doing? How is this one doing? And then the other day we went to go check and see how her hearing was, and they told her she has to get a hearing aid at 12 years old from the
Mhm.
chemotherapy. And she's like, well, do I at least get to pick the color? Like, it's the
That's
perspective, it's
amazing.
the outlook,
Mhm.
and it made me cry when she got all like a little bah
Mhm.
humbug and then she flipped it, and I definitely think, like, I don't want to take away the difficulty of what you went through, but
Mhm.
again, where you are today, I mean, only your mom could imagine, like, how proud she must be of you in this moment. And I'd love to just pull mom on here for a second. I don't know if you were prepared to say anything tonight, but I'd love for you to just take a minute to talk about Emily and what it means to you, from where she's come from and to where she is now.
Oh, well, thank you. No, I'm not super prepared, but when you talk from the heart, that's the best preparation, right? Just speak what your heart feels. Incredibly proud of Emily. I'm proud of her physical accomplishments in wheelchair basketball, but most important, I'm proud of who she is today, and the future is very bright. This podcast is just one of those moments where she's embracing her disability, she's sharing her positivity, but she lives this way too. It's not just for the camera and this type of opportunity. She's just a good zest for life. We all are proud of our kids, and we all have the best things to say about them. But I've had numerous people tell me when she walks in a room, she lights it up, and it's very, very true. And I think cancer gave her that spark. It's the spark of appreciating life. It's the spark of realizing that the alternative isn't what any of us would have wanted. And she truly is giving back in ways in her everyday living. So the sport is what makes it glamorous and the opportunity is incredible. But what she does behind all of that is just as important. So my husband and I, her dad, are just incredibly proud. She has three brothers. We talk about warriors like herself, but the whole family is um, completely involved in a cancer diagnosis, and they're shaped differently because of it too. And you talk about the before cancer and after cancer. My husband and my joke is it BC or AC? Which is it? What was the timeline? Was that before cancer? Or was that after cancer? When we come up with something that we're trying to remember. So yeah, super proud of Emily. Super proud of the person she has become. And is there challenges? Absolutely. She definitely went through high school with a lot of challenges. Physical are the obvious ones. It's the emotional ones. And one of the best things that ever happened to her after cancer was finding a disability sport, a wheelchair sport, which is basketball. I think from Emily's perspective and my perspective is her worlds were sports. Then that was taken away in her mind because of her disability. And then finding wheelchair basketball brought her back to life. There was definitely some moments of a little bit of difficulty and feeling like her friends were abandoning her because they were her teammates of all her different teams. So super proud of her pulling herself out of that hole and getting to where she's at today. So thanks for letting me speak, and I'd be happy to answer any questions, but hopefully that gave you a little bit more of a background on her.
Yes, thank you so much, Melissa. And that is so true. Like is it before cancer or after cancer? I would agree that most parents feel that way. Yes, siblings are absolutely affected as so they carry that with them. It is different. But as we're, talking about recovery and even long-term side effects here, I just do want to address like if it's not your leg like Emily or my daughter's hearing, but your story matters. And I know that there are a bunch of side effects that maybe we're not addressing right now, but this is all inclusive. And for moms and dads, just know that we are holding your babies in our hearts and prayers. But Emily, I would like to address specifically um, just in your recovery, what was one of the most pivotal moments for you during that time?
Yeah, I think my mom kind of touched on it, but a little bit of a misconception is once you ring the bell, you're totally cleared, life goes back to normal, and that is far from the case. And truly, those years after ringing the bell were sometimes harder than going through the treatments just because your life has completely changed and it's hard to deal with mentally. And I struggled with even being confident in who I was. My hair was growing back. I'm a girl. I want long, luscious hair. That wasn't what I had. I didn't feel great about myself going back to school, being known as the cancer girl. And it's not to like feel sorry for myself, but it's being different in any capacity. You're just a lot of the time trying to fit in high school. So I was doing everything I could to hide what happened to me. I didn't never wanted to talk about it, shy away from it. And it wasn't really until I found wheelchair basketball. I was 16 years old, so a few years out of treatment, where I found a space where I could really embrace what makes me different. And the community is full of people with different physical disabilities and different stories, and you're not seen for being different, if that makes sense. Nobody the first thing they ask you is not about cancer. It's, about other parts of your life. And it's just, it brought a lot of light and laughter to that time. And honestly gave me the confidence to be who I was and give a platform to talk about it. So it took time. It wasn't, found wheelchair basketball, boom, back to normal, but, years and maturing and just realizing what's important in life, it brought my spark back. So I'm very, very grateful for the sport.
Yeah,
And
well,
just
go
all
ahead.
I was going to say is for the moms in here, while she was worried about getting back to normal, I was worried about scan anxiety, right? For every scan that happens, whatever the period time of the cancer, but every 3 months, she had to do scans for 3 full years. And that was the scan, anxiety that I know we all have had to probably deal with. So, but that didn't seem to worry you as Emily. I think you felt like it wasn't going to come back. It
Well, I
was,
think you and Dad did a great job of shielding me to how serious my cancer diagnosis was. I truly did not know the numbers, and I was young enough to not use the internet to look that up because that would have been super scary. But I had no idea there was like a 70-80% chance of it coming back. So I applaud you, Mom and Dad, to just, that's trying to shield your kids from that scary stuff is super important as much as you can.
Yeah. And you actually just rolled straight into what I was going to ask about is because there is this harsh reality that sometimes the diagnosis can become who we are, right?
Mhm.
But that it doesn't define you. So it is a battle, but it does not define who you are. And you were motivated enough to just turn that energy towards sports and focus it there and kind of just recreate, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, so it's incredible. Um, so let's see, after treatment, for families of childhood cancer survivors, transitioning from treatment to life can absolutely be overwhelming, just as you were talking about. Like it's very different. It's different for you. You've got anxiety for mom. What advice do you have for kids and families who are facing this new normal? Like for you, it was sports. Like, would you? Um, maybe for kids who aren't into sports or for, what's your advice there?
Mm. Yeah, I would say the one thing you can control is your mindset with anything in life, specifically to a cancer diagnosis. We unfortunately can't control how our body responds to treatments. We can't control our treatment plan, even. We're just kind of told and thrown into whatever the doctors tell us. But the one thing we do have control over is our mindset. So figuring out what your outlet is and trying to find a way to have the life you did before, but in a new way, that kind of adaptability, and it looks different for everyone. Everyone has different interests, but yeah, trying to find that spark again and just getting yourself out of the deep holes that this disease unfortunately can put you in and not sitting and overthinking as much as you can. We're all human. But yeah, getting out there and finding something you love.
So sports was your light. Would you
Mhm.
say that there was also an emotional and almost even physical healing
Mhm.
for you with
Yes.
that?
Yeah, and also that came with friends too and family. Just leaning on them. And I was very lucky. I found the bestest of friends in college who were not there when I was going through cancer. They didn't fully know what has happened to me, and this even the sport of wheelchair basketball, they had no idea. And they just fully have embraced it, learned about it, and but they also don't, they care, of course, but they also don't look at me any differently or treat me any differently. And you need those people in your life to bring a little humor to situations and make life fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we actually had just posted a video and I think what was he, 4 years old? So he's one of our new athlete scholarship recipients. And so what you talk about is actually one of Kick Cancer's missions. But in his video, he was like, scholarship means that I get to play with my friends.
mhm,
And so to him, it wasn't even necessarily the sport that was the highlight, even though he loves it, but it's being with people and creating those relationships. And I think overwhelmingly not feeling alone anymore.
mhm,
No one, especially when you're a teenager, you don't want to be different. You don't want to be set apart. A lot of the times, that's the biggest fear and yet probably one of the biggest motivators to just push you to where you are today. It's forced you to be different per se. And yet
Yeah.
you have found your crew, you have found your people. And so incredibly proud of you, Emily. We also had another athlete. He was into go-kart racing, and he was one of our first athlete scholarship recipients. And I don't know if you've had a chance to check him out, but you're going to want to because his name is Pedro Cueto, Cueto. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he also had Ewing sarcoma. However, they weren't able to do the surgery that you had. They completely took his leg, so he has a prosthetic. And Kick Cancer was able to build him a go-kart that worked with his prosthetic.
Oh, I
Um,
did see this video. Oh
yes,
Very
my
exciting about
gosh,
this. Yeah.
yes. I
so
didn't know he had Ewing's, but
yes.
yeah,
Yes. And
that's
so
awesome.
check him out. But this is definitely one of the passions is that I know not every kid is into sports or athlete. Like we have a lot of kids that are maybe it's painting or drawing or whatever it is that is going to bring light and hope back into your life. Parents, we just want to encourage you and know that there is hope. And despite any long-term side effects that chemotherapy and radiation or even surgery could bring. So let's see. So you did get to see that one, but you got to look them up. That's
Yeah.
Pedro. Yeah. Can you speak to the impact that having access to athletic resources like that or support? And I know your mom had said, I wish I could have found you, when Emily was in it. Like what that could have meant back then. And
Yeah, we've definitely made strides of making things just more accessible to people going through cancer and adaptive sports. I didn't find wheelchair basketball. Well, I'll tell you the story of how I even found basketball. So in high school, like I said, I was struggling to find out where I fit in. I couldn't run or jump anymore. So the one sport I still could play that I played prior to cancer was golf. So I joined our high school golf team. The local newspaper wrote a story about, cancer survivor returns to golf, a little feel good story. And the local wheelchair basketball coach read that article and Googled my name, found out who my mom was. She owned a business, called her business, was like, hey, I need to talk to Melissa. I need to get her daughter to practice. Honestly, stalked our family, which is totally worth it in the end. But he got in contact with my mom and said, hey, Emily qualifies for basketball. I think she'd be great at it. She played basketball prior. And my mom told me that he wanted me to come to a practice. And I said, absolutely not. That makes no sense. I walk. Again, I didn't want to be different. And to me, I thought, I had just such a negative stigma of the word wheelchair for some reason and didn't want to be disabled in my brain. I wanted to be back to normal. So he persuaded, and I eventually went to a practice planning to politely say, no, thanks, this isn't for me. But the minute I saw the sport, it was just way more physical and athletic and fast paced than I imagined in my brain. And I joined it that night. But if he didn't stalk my family, I would never be here being able to talk. And I don't even know what my life would be. So I think that's one of the challenges is making sure everybody knows and has access. The internet and social media, it has helped tremendously with that. But at the same time, there's still so much to do. And actually, my full-time job is working for Wisconsin Adaptive Sports Association as a community outreach director. So most of my job is trying to find kids and that would benefit from adaptive sports. So
well, you and I have a very similar position. So as the community
yes,
outreach director for Kick Cancer, like it's
yes.
just trying to reach more
Mhm.
childhood cancer families, not only for the athlete program, but for our Kickstart kit to
Mhm.
have tools shipped to these families to help their kids uh, thrive through treatment, essentially, and to help reduce some of the side effects during and after. Because yeah, it's just the outreach is the difficult part. It really is. But Thank goodness for stalkers, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. The one
Well,
good story that turns out.
and
One good story.
Emily, you missed one kind of important part of that story. And the reason why it was a story to begin with is Emily is the first athlete in the state of Wisconsin that was given an exemption to ride in a golf cart because she couldn't move her leg. She was in a full mobile long cast. So the WIAA, which is Wisconsin Interscholastic, I don't know what it stands for, but basically the governing body to athletics for high school, granted her permission to compete in golf using a golf cart and crutches. So that's why the story, it was even a story to begin with, is because she was the first in our state. And that's why the coach also saw that she was disabled and would qualify for basketball. So kind of a cool fact, I think.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, so Emily, what is in the future for you? Like, what are you looking towards that's coming up?
Yeah, so I know we just chatted about it, but LA 2028 is with the Paralympic cycle, it's every 4 years, and we are blessed that it's in our home country, which is super exciting. That it does not happen in a lot of lifetimes so I'm very excited. We'll compete that summer and hopefully bring a gold medal home. So we got silver in Paris at the Paralympics, and we need to one up it to gold. So I'm honestly training full time for that. It's years of commitment. It's already started right now. So I actually was just at basketball practice right before this podcast. So that's my life, and then working full time for Wausau. So we'll
And
see.
and everyone listening on here now or listening to the recording better commit to cheering for Emily in the Olympics.
Yes.
So
You
I know
have to, it's Team USA. It's not like there's local teams. So we're all on the same team here. There's no NFL, Chicago Bear, Packer rivalries or anything.
And
where,
follow Emily's social as well to watch her
yes, what's your
road to the
social
Olympics.
media?
Be amazing.
What's your social media, Em? Can you let people know where they can find you?
Yes, my Instagram is just my name at Emily Oberst. Let me do, actually, I might have, let me check. Just kidding. It's at Emily_Oberst. And then my TikTok is just my name, Emily Oberst. So those are the two I use the most.
Well, Emily, this has been such a pleasure to have you on here. Um, if you are watching this recording and have not received a Kickstart kit, we would love to invite you to apply for that. It's $9.99 for shipping. All the items in there are to help reduce side effects, to help you get through treatment, less nausea, good nutrient packed snacks, all the things, and then also the athlete scholarship program. So thank you, Emily. Thank you, Mom,
Yeah.
for coming on here too. This was such a last minute thing, but I was like, Emily, you need to invite your mom because
Yeah.
we're those who are going to be watching this most likely are going to be cancer moms anyways, or teenagers who are looking for it. But so thank you for having your point of view. It's incredibly important for parents to also feel that sense of just community and love and understanding for sure. So thank you for all who came on here. And is there anything else you wanted to add, Em? Maybe I forgot, Mom.
I don't think so. Thank you for having us. This was a pleasure. And you guys are doing such great work and just moving the needle towards the positive. So I'm so grateful.
Same
Thank
to me.
you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this platform.
Yes, and have a Merry Christmas.
Same to
Yes,
all of
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Thanks, guys.
Right. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.